Good, cold morning, YouTube. Very, very cold. For all you blue collar guys that are out working, I don't care if you're blue collar or not. If you just got to get out of the house and go to work today, I commend you. If you're in Tennessee, probably about most of the United States, because it's cold everywhere. I think it was 7 when I woke up this morning. And it's not supposed to be, any warmer anytime soon. And I think, next Sunday is supposed to be back to 66. So, that's Tennessee weather for you. If you don't know how that weather goes in Tennessee. But I wanted to make this video, and it may be kind of silly, but at the same time, it's a true statement. But I just want to apologize to Keith Kalfas. If you don't know who Keith Kalfas is, he has a landscape YouTube channel. He was, besides Geek to Freak, I think he was about the second person besides Stanley Genetic, I don't know what they call him, something monkey, grass monkey maybe, I don't know. But he was about the second channel that I subscribed to. And, at that time, all I wanted was the labor part of things. I wanted him to show me how to do flower beds and pull out bushes and trim bushes and how to price things. I wanted that information, and I unsubscribed to the channel because after so long, he was comical. He'd always do this thing and, whatever. If you watch the channel, you know what I'm talking about. But every time I got on a video, the first thing he'd start talking about was this new audio book he was reading or listening to, or this new book he was reading. And I was in like all this knowledge he wanted to give me. And in hindsight, that was more important than any of the other stuff that I wanted to look up, any of the other stuff that I really wanted to learn about. And he was constantly talking about reading books and studying. And I'm thinking, dude, I run a landscape business and I pressure wash houses. Why the heck would I want to read books? Just get to the bush trimming, get to the estimates. Tell me how you estimate trimming bushes. How do you pull out bushes? Did you get any new equipment? I was in that mindset of YouTube. And man, I gotta owe him an apology, because he was trying to give me that knowledge and give all of us that knowledge that we really need. I've been listening to a lot of Jim Rohn, and I ordered a couple of his books. And if you've never listened to Jim Rohn, it's Jim R-O-H-N. Like he makes it so simple, but it really is that simple. He doesn't overthink things and make things harder than they are. And like his stuff on YouTube, and I'm sure his books are going to be the same, but they're awesome. You can't get past them. Some of the books he talks about reading is a couple of them that I've already read. I just finished one last week. I'm about to finish one today or tomorrow. And, I got 2 more in the mail today. Like, I can't wait to get that next book. And, Jim Rohn talks about if you want things to change, you got to change yourself. You have to change. And, I always wanted to be blue collar. I wanted to be out in the, outside working and, not so much using my brain as much as my body. And books, I didn't like reading in school. And I love documentaries and I love history and I love things like that. But I couldn't stand to read. But when I get a book now, I can't wait for it to get in. It's like a new season of a show coming on. I can't wait for it to get to the house when I, finish one and go to the other. And Keith Kalfas, it's like, and I don't know if it is like that now, but his videos would start out and he was like, just the other day I was listening to this new audio book, and just the other day I was reading and I would just be like, oh God, he's going to give me a big spiel about life and some kind of motivational something. And it would get on my nerves. I was like, all I want to do is see him rip the bush out. I don't want to know about the other stuff. And heck, there may be people on this channel that think the same thing. But after listening to so many podcasts, I listened to Brad Lee, and after listening to so many different people come on there, whether they were in real estate, some other kind of sales, whether they did insurance, mortgages, anything. No, it really didn't matter what their career or profession was. They all talked about reading. They got up every morning early and they read. And I was like, after I hear one guy, I'm like, the next guy. Well, after a year of listening to this podcast and realizing that all these people that are successful that are on here, the things they have in common is, one, they decided to change things for themselves. They made that change. And two, they're up early, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. They're reading books, they're exercising, they're doing all that. And like, it took me 7 or 8 months before I finally decided to make that change. I have other changes that I got to make. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm well on my way. So you coming into the new year, you don't have to wait for the new year to start something new for yourself. In one of Jim Rohn's speeches, I think he says tomorrow's too late or something like that. I don't know it word for word, but basically just saying, right now is the perfect time to change. If you want to make a change, today and right now is the perfect time to make that change. And, and then he even mentioned all these people that have written books and how to do things and how not to do things and been successful, not successful. And all that knowledge is out there, but yet we don't use it. He talked about, of course, one of his seminars is from, heck, I was only like 2 years old. It's from the 80s, and he's talking about houses that are over $300,000 or $400,000 houses, and all of them have a library. And he goes, it makes sense, right? Why would they have a library? Because they got books. They read. And so if I can give you guys one bit of advice as far as business goes, as far as personal life, family, wealth, any of that goes, is wake up early and read a book. Read a book sometime through the day, 5 or 10 pages. I suck at reading. I'm not going to lie. I'm not the best reader. If a TV show's on, I'll try to block it out, but I'll just put the rain on my Pandora and put my AirPods in and try to block it out so I can read. And, that's what I have to do sometimes. So, but if I can give you guys something that, if you're thinking about starting a business next year, no matter what it is, if you're stuck and you want to change things with your life, make that change. You can do it. Anybody can do it. It may not happen. That change may not go into effect, for years. Where you want to be at may not happen for years, but you can make that change as soon as you want to. And I just want you guys to realize that. Read a book. If you don't want to read it, buy the audio book and let them talk to you and read it to you. I struggle with reading. If I read, I fall out sometimes. And, but I try to read when I get up first thing in the morning at 5 o'clock. I try to read, depending on what I'm reading. Heck, I may read 2 or 3 chapters of it if it's really good. Some books I've read have been a little difficult. Everybody loves Think and Grow Rich, and I was glad in Jim Rohn's speech that he talks about Think and Grow Rich, because I was like, okay, well, I've read that one. And I even remember telling my wife when I read it, I said, there is some really good stuff in this book, but there is some stuff that just is like beyond my knowledge. And Jim Rohn talks about this back in the 80s. He got that book and he's basically said what I just said. There's some good stuff in it. He said, but it's weird. And I was like, man, I'm glad I'm not the only one, because when I first read that book, there was some weird stuff in it, stuff that I felt like was beyond my, knowledge. But people say to read that book once a year, and that's what I'll do. With the fire, I had to let a lot of the books that I had already bought go because we couldn't keep them because of the soot and the smoke. But I'm just having to buy them back. But I've read probably, I don't remember the day I first started reading. I want to think it was in August or September. It may have been before then. I don't remember. But I've taken my books on vacation. I've taken my books, about everywhere I go, because I really enjoy reading and getting the knowledge, and I can't wait to get that one read and get to the next one. But if you need an idea, a Christmas gift for somebody, Christmas is a few days away, buy them a book. They may wonder why. If somebody would have given me a book 2 years ago, I would have been like, why'd you give me this? On pressure washing business sites, they kept talking about a book called Traction. Well, I got it, started reading a little bit of it, and I was like, this just isn't for me. I don't want to read. And I mean, there's no telling, if I would have read that book, how it would have went. So, anyway, just wanted to give you guys that today. It's super cold where I'm at here in Tennessee. I think it's about super cold anywhere in the United States right now. So you guys stay warm, stay safe. And if I don't put another video up before then, you guys have a Merry Christmas. Thanks for 1,000 subscribers. I finally got over that threshold. It isn't a thing to me that I'm trying to get rich off of it or think that I'm going to get rich. It's just like an accomplishment for me. And the ones that have been on there, and, it may not be about pressure washing or, anything else. It may be about life insurance. Thanks for sticking around. I plan on putting more of it up. So, anyway, that's my time for today. You guys have a Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.